If you've been on the web for a little bit, you've probably all heard about the dangers of cross-site scripting, but what types are there and how do I identify them? Well, it all starts out with cross-site scripting that is reflected, of course. We see reflection on the screen, which is also known as non-persistent cross-site scripting. Quite a dangerous one, of course, because it is often reflected in the URL, which means I just have to send you a URL and bam, you might have lost your account. The next example brings us to stored cross-site scripting. As we can see, we've registered, and now that we have registered, we can store items in the database, also known as persistent cross-site scripting. Now, as you can see, we can just enter a normal image into that field, a image in HTML, and it'll show on screen, which means that we can also insert our own scripts. This is stored, so meaning this is very dangerous. Now you might be wondering to yourself, Uncle Rat, why is this so dangerous? Well, stored cross-site scripting, as we are demonstrating it right here, is self-cross-site scripting, meaning that only you can stumble upon this attack vector. Still dangerous, but first we need to expand a little bit on what we can do with an attack like this, because as you can see, we can steal cookies, in this case session ID cookies. Now I'm going to open a private window and I'm going to log in as another user so I can grab their cookies. Now as you can see, it's in the request headers, going to grab their session ID. There we go, and now I'm going to paste that in my normal window. There we go, and once I do that, you will see, first let me log out real quick. Now let me log by pasting that new session ID there, and as you can see, suddenly I am logged in this page, which I definitely shouldn't be. So that is one of the big dangers. You can literally stumble across this and lose your account, especially persistent cross-site scripting, whereas non-persistent you still have to click on a URL or something similar. The next item on our list of demonstrations would be client-side template injection. Now you might be thinking, okay, cross-site scripting is well protected against, but let's go and explore a little bit. Because as you can see, our normal cross-site scripting attempts all end in vain. We can enter what we want in cross-site scripting terms in here, but it's not going to deliver us the payload that we want. Unless, of course, we enter a special type of payload, because we can enter the HTML entities, which is the filter, but still we can have an export. Now, as some of you may or may not already know, cross-site scripting can occur in many different flavors. One of them, for example, is DOM cross-site scripting, and a little bit of a crafty hacker can look into the source code and, for example, find vulnerabilities like this, where data is unsanitized and then passed into the document object model into a DOM sink, where it can then be retrieved. Hopefully, with your newfound knowledge of cross-site scripting, you'll have gained some respect for this noble art, because as you might notice, it goes pretty deep. I haven't even touched on the filters yet, and there's much more to come. I will make another video like this if you guys like it, but if you don't, also let me know by giving me that thumbs down. I hope I will see you in the next one. Bye, amazing hacker, and much love from Uncle Rat.